Who's depicted in that photograph?
That is our eldest daughter,
And what's her name?
Gypsy Jill Willis.
Are you familiar with Martin McNeil?
Yes. Martin McNeil is a very impressive person. He's tall, he's got a bright white smile. We were pleased, of course. Who wouldn't be?
At some point you spoke with the defendant about his relationship with Michelle McNeil, is that correct?
Yes. He said to me that he had never loved Michelle, and then he amended that to say, I did. I loved her as a sister, but I did not love her the way I love Gypsy.
Gypsy Willis's mother on the stand today in the middle of all of this, trying to uncover and shed some light on the nature of the relationship between Gypsy Willis and Dr. McNeil. Dr. McNeil accused of murdering his wife to be with Gypsy. Right now, I want to bring in Gypsy Willis's mother and father, Vicki and Dr. Howard Willis. Thank you both for being here. Really do appreciate it. I know you had to testify today. Here's my first question, though. You raised Gypsy. She's your daughter. Did you ever think or ever imagine it was even possible that she would be the alleged motive in a murder case? She would be a key witness, and you too, Vicki, would be in court testifying?
I don't think any parent in the whole world ever looks upon their child as being a possible criminal or a possible other woman or a possible, any kind of person like that. Gypsy was a beautiful child. She was extremely smart. She was very advanced to her age always with everything from potty training to reading. When she was in Des Moines and she was a nursing student, there were 30 students who started, and the nursing instructor told her, she says, I really don't think you have an aptitude for this. And she was one of only 3 that graduated from that class. And so she was a wonderful child. She was very bright. She was very helpful and very responsible.
Now, this is interesting. You say she's very bright. So that leads me to my next question, which is what this case is all about and what our show is about tonight. She's smart. She's involved with Dr. McNeil. He's accused of plotting to murder his wife. Do you think your daughter Gypsy knew what was going on here?
You know, I think from the outside, as you consider these people and the things they do, I think it's very easy to fall into the trap of thinking that you know what they're thinking. It's impossible to know what their motives were, how much they knew, how much they plotted. It's hard to say. Obviously, we all know the results of what happened, but whether or not she was aware of everything, who knows? Who knows? I think there's a paucity of evidence that she was, that she was the criminal that she's often painted out to be. I think she made some terrible choices, and I think we all do sometimes, certainly not to the extent that she did. But I think it's hard, and I think it's wrong of us, really, to sit down and say, well, I know exactly what she was thinking, and what she did was wrong, and she was a bad person.
Doctor, let me ask you, do you think the other doctor in her life, Dr. McNeil, was a bad influence on her, or was your daughter a bad influence on him?
Boy, that's a heck of a question. I think he was a bad influence on her, primarily. This is a man that was engaged in manipulation of information and things about himself his whole life. And I do think that he had some, if not all, pressure on her that would bring this heinous thing to pass. The question I have is that, at some point, where was Gypsy? Where was her mind? What was she thinking? And very oftentimes, men of Dr. McNeil's background and ability get so used to manipulating the people around them, they don't even realize they're being manipulated.
I want to play for you, Vicki, just a little piece of your testimony today, because it really stood out to a lot of us as we're watching it, and it involves learning about when exactly Michelle McNeil died. Let's take a listen.
Yes.
What did he say about the date of her passing, the time of her passing?
As I said, we were reticent about asking too much about that. It was my understanding initially that she had passed away in January, and this being May, it lent more credibility to the relationship of her, of my daughter and Dr. McNeil.
So who is saying that she passed away in January?
That was the first information that I received, and I believe I received that from Gypsy. We did not meet Dr. McNeil for quite a bit later, and she had told us something about the doctor that she was dating, and I think that information came first from Gypsy.
So if she's saying she's dead in January, I mean, does that raise your suspicions about what these two may have been talking about together prior to the death of Michelle?
Well, of course. I think Gypsy was interested in maintaining a good impression on us as her parents, and I think she wanted to cast him in the best possible light. And as I said, there's more of a credibility given to a relationship that is separated from the death of the prior wife by 6 months rather than 6 weeks or 8 weeks or whatever that was.